koutou, and welcome to South Pacific Muscle. It's been a while, so the boys just thought we'd get on and thought we do badly, talk a bit of shit, and see what's happening out there.
Someone cares what we've got to say.
Look, the best part about being delusional, Mike, is that your levels of grandeur just go through the roof. Hey, talking about
delusions of adequacy.
I don't know if it didn't work the other way around. But in terms of grandeur, did you see that party that they had at with Redcon?
Oh, you sent me the link, but I didn't look at it. It just made me sad.
Oh, it was cool, man. They had the biggest pool, and people all dressed up in evening gowns and stuff. And then they had a singer up the top rocking out some like 80s, 90s kind of songs, and a light show, and there were people coming and going. And I just thought, wow, the world's getting back to some normality, and there's some a bit of out there. And I've noticed on Insta too lately, a lot of our people that follow us have been out at drum and bass and electronica music sort of festivals and that, and there's a whole lot of that coming out, which is a really, really cool thing. So I think people are having a bit of fun out there now, so it's kind of cool.
Yeah, was that just all the Redcon sponsored athletes, or Redcon just come to the mansion?
Well,
like we mentioned, coming for a party.
Come to the Weeders house. No, I think they did a photo shoot because they had Dana Lynn Bailey, Blessing.
Is she coming back?
Kai. I don't know. The latest one with Kai is people are talking WWE.
Oh, really?
Going to WWE, and I mean, he's a phenomenal athlete. The guy's flexible. He can move. It might suit him. He'd be a freak. I'd love to see him.
I'd love to get a sneaky peek at his Redcon contract to see what's actually in it. To see what he is contractually obliged to do.
All I know is that it'll have a lot of zeros on it, man. It'll be oh well.
So no more grapefruit for him.
No, he's living the dream now. But look at it, Redcon, and Redcon, man, they got a good crew. The people I kind of see, and this is like my humble opinion, nothing to do with sales or all those kind of things, but the companies I see at the moment that are really kind of capitalizing on the way that the industry's changed, I think Redcon and Hostile, both signing some really cool athletes recently and having publicity around that. And they're aligning their teams, like the people they're picking for their teams suit their label, which was kind of my question about Big Ramy signing with Enhanced Labs, because look, and look, man, call a spade, and the game is the game, and he does a lot of things that are a necessary evil, I suppose, to a certain extent, but are the norm for us, at a higher level. I'm not talking, myself personally, but I share the same view that it is what it is, and we just get on with it. And so his view is that he puts a lot of information out there. He does a lot of stuff that people want to know about, and that side of the business is completely separate company, separate board of directors than the Enhanced Lab side of the company that Ramy's going to be promoting, he said. So, yeah, that was interesting,
I'm wondering, we tend to, I mean, you and I listen to a lot of the same podcasts. We listen to everything that Ferd puts out. So we'll do a distorted perspective of how well Hostile's doing, because we've got it in our face all the time. Because
absolutely,
it seems to be a relatively minor player. All the talk about the products he makes, the way he tests them, and the sort of, what do they call it? Clinical doses of everything that's in it. They sound awesome, but they're still a very minor player in the market. It's just we get their advertising spin-off, which is Ford's podcast, and we love that.
Yeah, absolutely. But I also, the other thing you have to realize is, although they're only a minor player in terms of the big established brands, the rate that they're growing, and the fact that he has 200,000 views on a podcast, means that although we get a higher exposure than the average person in society, someone else in our sport gets probably equally as much. There's a lot of people out there that are following that now. But I guess what I'm kind of saying is that from a media perspective, I haven't heard of any other signings for the big existing companies, really. Like they don't get the same, wow, here's an announcement, which is kind of like there's a lot of showmanship in that kind of stuff that we're getting from the new brands, and their brand ambassadors do a really good job of making you feel kind of like part of their little thing. But with the big companies, I don't see that on. I don't really see it on Instagram, or maybe. I mean, do people buy magazines anymore? I don't know. I've never bought one, and
you wouldn't know. I haven't bought one in forever. Most of them actually, I saw one at the gym that I flicked through that was sitting on the tables, but they were the free ones. They were just all about promoting lots of different supplements.
Yeah.
So I mean, they had a few minor small articles and lots of pictures. So they're good to sort of flick through, but they're really just promotional material. So they're not sort of the magazines that you used to get 20 years ago. You sort of read the articles and
that was so good, eh? That was so good.
Secrets on getting huge,
Yeah. And interesting now, like listening to guys that were in the scene back then, that had articles done by them, and they said, we took a lot of pride and wrote those articles ourselves. There were other articles that were written for people, which you kind of go, that's a bit shit, but it was a cool time. I enjoyed it. But I guess looking at it now, it just goes, how much has the game changed?
Yeah, absolutely.
And pay-per-view streams are now the norm. I remember only as early as one of our earlier podcasts, so what's that, in the last 6 months, and we had a conversation about, and I put my view forward that all bodybuilding shows should be sold on live stream, just like boxing and UFC. And here we are 6 months later, and it's become the norm. So
a little bit COVID related too. They were probably forced into that because of the inability to have audiences. So if you're not putting 5,000 bums on seats and getting the money from that, then you've got to find another revenue stream. So
absolutely, but you wonder how much, if we hadn't had COVID and we carried on going the same old way,
how much revenue were they leaving the table?
Yeah, man, because there's a shitload more revenue online than there is putting bums on seats in Las Vegas.
Yep.
So
I mean, my impression of pay-per-view when it was 10 years ago, they were doing boxing. You get the Tyson fight or whatever, and it seemed to be really expensive. So pubs would buy it, and you'd go to the pub and watch it. So by sheer volume, the price has kind of come down. I don't know about boxing, but if I got $10 to watch the Olympia, or $20 to watch the Olympia for the weekend, I'll pay it. But if it's 60, 70, $100,
it was last time I think the last one that I bought was 55 or 75 for, but that's for the entire weekend. So that's from you get Friday and then meet the athletes and the press conference, and then the different classes and the strongman events, all those. Well, not strongman, and that's more the Arnolds, but all the other things that go with the bodybuilding. Or I think in some places you can just buy the finals bodybuilding. Yeah. No, I don't know if it's as specific as classes, but in smaller chunks, so you can get what you like. But to me, Olympia weekend's all about starting on the Friday and not getting off that fucking couch except to cook, go to the toilet, and then go to the gym in the break. And we do that a weekend. And so for 3 days entertainment for $75.
All right, so here's a thought. There's some live streams going on for some of the shows we have here in New Zealand, but the ones I've seen have been pretty poor quality.
Oh, absolutely.
And I don't think. Look, I'm not technically minded, but I don't think it's that difficult to get the camera right, get the quality of camera, quality of live stream. Now, we're not asking for multiple angles, we're not asking for backstage stuff. Put one camera up there that shows the screen.
And to be fair, Mike, when they used to do the multiple angles and the panning around, people getting the live feed actually complained. They just want the stage view. And I think if you went to any of the major federations in New Zealand that have got, photographers, so you got like Linda Shoots for IFBB, you've got Rob Caven and Define Photography, and I don't know, there's a bunch of others, going way back to when we were doing it, and you had to buy the hard copy ones. But I guess what, those people have got the equipment and the knowledge and the understanding of the lighting and that to set up a proper shot, and then you've just got to live stream that. So realistically, we could be doing it in every show in New Zealand.
And if you're charging a nominal fee,
I
mean, let's say you're charging $10 for the Auckland Champs, they had the whole day. If you got, how many people would you need to make it commercially viable? because if you're there and you're like Linda Shoots is there.
But honestly, no, look, seriously, from a commercially viable point of view, what are you paying for?
Yeah, exactly.
You're streaming something online, so the cost is very, very low. But then you've also, what you've got is you've got an audience that's not sitting in the auditorium, but an audience around New Zealand and potentially overseas if they're people wanting to watch their friends and family compete, etc. And you can ram advertising down their throat in between the events, you know, and I say that sarcastically because that's just common sense, you know. A sponsor should be able to get some time in your live stream just like they do in your show when you announce them. And if you really wanted to get flash, you could put on some commentators. So anyone but Sean Ray. Love you, Sean Ray.
Well, I guess the thing is that the simple is chuck a camera up there that's decent quality, that's getting a good live stream out, charge a small amount of money for it, and you're winning, right? You don't have to overcomplicate it by having commentators. You're going to make more money than you're making now, and there's sort of nominal cost. So, you know, and if you are worried about that kind of intellectual property where Linda's the photographer for the show, and you know we don't want other people in there sort of doing photography, or what they do take stills off the video stream. I mean, that'd be pretty low quality. You'd still want your top quality.
Look, you know, to be fair, there would probably be people, like if I was watching one of my athletes or a friend of mine compete, and I was online and I saw them, I thought, man, they look good. That would probably make me contact Linda or contact, you know, Rob or whoever's doing that particular show and say, hey, can I buy some stills off you? Because, you know, you can see so much more in the stills. And if it was someone that you really wanted to see perform, or as one of your athletes, tell me you're not going to buy some images for your website or for your Instagram, or just so you've got to, when people say, can I have a look at your past clients? Here's my past clients. Look what they look like. Yep. So I think it's a win-win. You get a bit of advertising in there for the people that sponsor the show, for the, you know, it'd be great. It'd be great. Easy to do.
Yeah. Just get to watch more bodybuilding, which is what we want.
Hey, yeah, absolutely. Talking about bodybuilding.
Is that what we're here for?
Yeah. I mean, I've been as you know, I've been contemplating whether to compete or not. And I've had a lot going on, you know, like work's been pretty busy. Hey, kid, how are you?
Good.
This is Dakota. They probably want to be world famous on the South Pacific Muscle YouTube podcast.
No, I don't.
Quick, Conan, get your head in, and then you all can go away. There's my crew.
Smile.
You
got a whole lot of mini-me's there, bro. They're little mini-me's.
Yeah, genes are strong.
Yes, definitely. Hey, yeah, so look, I've been thinking about all these things, been very busy with kids. Yeah, lots going on, just approved for a mortgage to buy a house and all those kind of things. And so I was kind of weighing up, you know, can I commit to it? And yeah, a lot of reasons for and a lot of reasons against. And, you know, like, to be fair, it's been a long road. Like, I've been dieting now for probably nearly 10 months. And so I'm pretty worn out, man. And I've got to say, I've had to spend a bit of time doing some, you know, nice things like going for a walk on the beach, spending time with the kids, and, you know, doing the park walks and just sharing a Coke and all that kind of stuff like that. And just have a real good think about, you know, am I in the right place to do it? Am I mentally in the right place to do it? Have I got too much on my plate? And, you know, I spoke to Jordan, and in true Nate fashion, I went, fuck it, bro, let's fucking do it. and he came back to me and said to me, he goes, I knew you were going to say that, and it's the right answer. And then what he said next actually kind of stuck with me. I was like, fuck, bro, that's really cool. He said, only one of two things are going to happen. You're going to win the show, or you're going to put the best physique you have ever put on stage. And I went, can't lose, really, can I? You know, and he said, no. He said, you know, you've got nothing to lose by doing this. And if you don't achieve what you want to achieve this year, it'll set you up for a really good off season. And I was like, that's what I want to hear. So
I've said this numerous times. Every person I speak to about competing, I always start with, have a vision in your head of what you can create. If you create that and put it on stage, then your process has been a success. You've achieved your goal. It's inevitable that people get tied up with things that are outside their control by wanting to win. You put so much into it well, even no matter how long you keep your head straight, and so I'm just focused on
the one
creating
that
physique, eventually you kind of go, fuck, I really want to win.
the level of pressure that a pro bodybuilder must have with the scrutiny they're under online, and their followings and their contracts must make it so difficult because, you know, like to me, I've always gone, oh, I'm going to do the show, and I've gone into the show because I've never been a big name in bodybuilding or anything like that. And, you know, yeah, I've won a regional show and it was a pretty good show, and I was pretty happy with how I looked at the pro-am. I looked pretty fucking good, you know, like I was up there with the top guys on stage. But I think this time, like I set my sights higher. I said, if I'm going to do this, I really want to be competitive for the overall. And
it's about being better, right?
yeah. And so, but what I'm sort of saying is like I kind of took that on board and went, oh, you know, and a couple of people have said to me, you know, look, if you come in right, if you come in your condition that you can bring, you know, you're a contender for this fucking sort of thing. And I'm kind of like, I don't know if I want to hear that, man. I don't need any more pressure. I just want to come to a bodybuilding show. And so I don't take it on board too much, but, you know, like, I guess it's always nice to hear that you're looking good. But what you said about you have an image of what you want to create, been a bit different for me because I've recomped and now I'm starting to fill out a lot. Like I'm actually seeing things that I didn't think was possible. So, for example, you know, certain body parts of mine have changed and grown to the extent that I thought, fuck, that's not going to look like what I thought it was going to look like on stage. That's going to look actually pretty fucking freaky and scary looking. Like it's going to, you know, it's going to be something that people are like, holy fuck, you know. And I thought, I didn't actually think I could ever kind of get a body part to that point. And so, you know, like I'm not going to say what it is because otherwise, you know, everyone's going to scrutinize that body part. But, you know, like when you get on stage and you get, you know, the obvious guys are guys like, you know, like when Paris comes on, you look at those delts. When Ants comes on and you have the glutes that look like walnuts, you know, and you know, just some of those guys that have got, you know, the arms that pop and you're just like, well, you know, that's really impressive. And I kind of, I've looked in the mirror in a couple of sets and kind of had to do a double take and go, fuck, I think I'm actually going to create something bigger than what I'd hoped to be able to put on stage, which is a weird fucking feeling, bro. It's very bizarre having that in your head going.
So I thought we were coming on to talk about you not doing the show because the last conversation we had, and so I'm excited for you. Like I said, either way, but the conversation I was like, you need a goal. Why are you competing? And if you didn't think you could be in contention, which you now kind of feel that you could be, if you're not in contention, what's your goal for doing the show? What are you looking to create?
So my now, you know, my contention is that I will put a physique on stage that I'm absolutely happy with and proud to put on stage and go, fuck yeah, this is what all the work was for. Whereas before I was always kind of about, I want to be competitive for the overall. I get that you don't control who judges and what the guys look like, and what I bring and I really like might not be what's decided that's the look we're going for or whatever, or the guy next to me is actually just out muscled me or is way more conditioned or whatever. So I don't control any of that other than the physique I put on stage. And I've made that shift from that to, I just want to compete and put the best version of me on stage. And fuck, I feel a lot lighter, bro. I feel like a weight's lifted off my shoulders because I'm like, I can control this and I can control all these factors. And I have for the last 10 months, essentially. You know, I can prep for 18 weeks and not have a cheat meal, even though I haven't had a cheat meal for nearly, I don't know, I think I might have had something in my diet probably 4 weeks ago, but other than that, probably 3.5 months, you know, so I haven't missed a meal and all those things. So, you know, I can string.
I'm saying nothing about cheat meals.
I have got to say, bro, when you told me that, I just had a message previous from someone who was dieting girl, and she was like, oh, I'm just trying to get in shape and la 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 la, and you know, I want to get in good nick and I'll think about competing again in the future. But I was really hungry the other night and I got up and I ate peanut butter and I went, don't feel bad about that. Mike got up at 3 a.m. and he ate a peanut butter and banana sandwich. And I went,
Peanut butter and banana sandwiches.
oh, and I was like, if only I could let myself get up in the night and eat a peanut butter sandwich. No way, couldn't do it.
Well, you know, like we talked about that, and I did think a lot about after you'd said, you know, why are you having this week? And I knew you weren't judging, but I had to kind of stop and think, well, what am I doing? And then when I justified it to you or replied to you, look, my body fat's in range, I'm bulking, and I'm hungry. Now, all right, peanut butter and banana sandwich, probably not the ideal thing to have in the middle of the night.
Anything rather than being hungry is a win. When you're bulking and you're in your parameters. But what I wanted to say, bro, sorry, I wanted to say was that I know that you're just tailing off, you know, what you've been doing and looking to join with the new coach and all the rest of it, and talk about that later if you want. But when I did the same and I swapped coaches and I had to transition across, I had a bit of freedom there. So I wasn't as good and wholesome as you probably thought I was. I probably did exactly the same thing as you, except I didn't drink bourbon last night.
Yeah. So it was Domino's pizza on Friday night. It was a butter chicken and half a bottle of bourbon last night. So.
Oh yeah, butter chicken is my go-to food, man. With naan bread, bro. I'd scoop that shit and just
yeah.
You're killing me. I'll have one in October with you, eh?
Yeah, that'll be
October
good. When's Tournament of Champions? November. Might have to wait till November. Unless I'm allowed to squeeze one in after nationals.
You can sit next to me while I eat one, and you can eat your chicken.
True. Yeah.
And I'll go, I remember being in your shoes.
Yeah. Oh, look, I was my weights, you know, obviously you want to be as heavy as you can. I don't know that what I've done in the last week or so has put on any muscle. I'm certainly filled out. I feel a lot rounder, psychologically better. And also going, well, if I can't have it now, when can I have it? Exactly. And it's not like I didn't have it instead of, I had it as well as. So I had my 7 meals per day and a Domino's pizza.
Good. No, that's good. I'll tell you the truth. I was talking to I can't remember who I was talking to. Might have been Jojo or someone. But anyway, and I said, Mike just had a Domino's pizza and a protein shake. And she goes, really? And I went, yeah. If that was me, fuck, I wouldn't have the protein shake. I would have just eaten another pizza. I would have gone 2 pizzas. You did see my effort eating that pizza when I put it in the, I filmed the whole lot and put it on, you know, speed it up a bit. As you watch me demolishing this pizza, and you get about 3/4 of the way through and realize that because you've been eating chicken and rice for so long, your gut can't take that volume of food anymore. And like I had to push hard, man. I was folding the bits up, drinking water with it, pushing them down. I was like, I'm going to finish this pizza no matter what. I get one meal and I'm going to finish this pizza. And it was a large extra cheese, extra meat. So I actually got through it. And honestly, man, I just started sweating. Yeah. Sweat was just pouring off me. And I was like, oh, that probably wasn't a good thing to do.
So we had like the boys played rugby yesterday, had a real good game, you know, the 10-year-olds, you know, but man, they played so well, you know, such good structure, such amazing players for that age.
Wow.
And I coach them, so I take a small amount of credit. Got together with the other coach and they come over and we enjoy socialising. All the kids get together. There's 6 kids here going crazy. So we got Indian. So I had I had all my meals right up until then, and then I had my butter chicken and rice. And then we had a couple of bourbons, and then a mate of mine texts me and says, bro, you know, are you around? I'm keen for a chat. And I went, okay, because the last time I spoke to him, he was having a few relationship issues. So I said, yeah, come on over. So he came over and we all sort of chatted for a while. And then the coach and his family went home at about sort of 9 o'clock. And then Delane went to bed and me and him sat there and just finished this bottle of bourbon. But about, I don't know, it must have been about midnight. I was going, shit, I haven't eaten since that butter chicken. And so I go and get some corn thins and peanut butter and a protein shake. And I sort of, in between bourbons, I'm having, having corn thins and protein shake. Well,
what's the worst version of that you've ever done? Because I'll give you mine first. I went to, I think it was a wedding, and we're sitting down at a long formal table, and everyone was there eating, and I pulled out of my pants pocket a chicken breast, and everyone was like, what, you got a chicken breast? And I reached in the other one and pulled out a tinfoil kumara. So I sat there and ate chicken and kumara at this thing, and I just said, oh, look, you know, I've got a bodybuilding show, that's what I've got to do. Yeah. I was close, and like I was prepping and I was in close. It wasn't like, like say for Ants's wedding, it was off season. okay, man, when diet's off tonight, we're celebrating with the boys, we're a table of bodybuilders and we're all eating. None of us are, prepping for shows at this point. Let's enjoy the food and just get through it. But in the past, my worst one is a wedding and a formal table with, 20 something guests, and I'm eating chicken and kumara out of my pockets. So you got any good ones like that?
Oh, but about me, I mean, like we discussed the other day, actually, I feel like I've done a lot of bodybuilding. I feel like I'm relatively experienced, but I've done 6 shows and 4 preps. So I actually haven't had that much experience with it. But one of the things that jumps into mind was when we were living over in England, and I was prepping Delane for a show, and she hates missing out. So we'd go, a group of friends, we'd go clubbing, go out to pubs or whatever, and she just couldn't stay home. She had to come out. So she's out with us. She's drinking waters, and she's got her container of vegetables and chicken. And so, like maybe 1 o'clock in the morning, she's standing outside a bar with these next to the big burly bouncers. She's in her long coat because in the middle of winter, she's freezing, out eating her vegetables and chicken.
Oh, that reminds me. I went to the Sonorous Festival up in Auckland, and it was at the racecourse there. They had an indoor bit and an outdoor set of DJs, big lighting. It was just, everyone there was festival mode. Everyone was pumping. They were having a good dance and that. And then I'd pull out my my cooler bag, and I had chicken and rice, and I'd sit there and eat it. And then I'd go off and I'd dance again for 2 hours. 2 hours, right? Got to go, guys. I'll be back soon. Come back, sit there eating more chicken and rice. And so I did that for a festival, and the bouncers looked after my food bag. And every time I come back over, they'd crack up laughing at me. Yeah. But it is what it is. You have a good time, and try and fit it in somehow.
Yeah, there's something to be said for the psychological relief that you need, because I mean we can be robots. Yeah. We can deprive ourselves if we have to, but do you really have to? I mean, you probably didn't do yourself any harm by going to that festival because you're eating all the way through, but yet psychologically you got to hang out with your mates. You got a bit of balance just for a little bit.
To be honest, because balance is so hard to find in our sport. What I do is probably every month to 6 weeks, I make sure I go to one music festival or night out with a DJ or something like that with a bunch of friends, have a dance, have a fucking good time. And I love it, man. Most of the time I live at home by myself. The kids are here when the kids are here. But other than that, I go home, I go to work, I eat, I sleep, and I do very little else other than bodybuilding. And the downtime I do have, I generally watch bodybuilding podcasts. So she's pretty full, tunnel vision. But once a month to every 6 weeks, I'll go out for a boogie, have a dance, and I'm the center of, I like being the center of not the center of attention, but you kind of a little bit the life of the party, and people kind of find you're quite a novelty.
A curiosity.
Yeah, curiosity, like a circus fucking freak or something. And it's kind of fun.
When people are saying, oh yeah, I don't need that. I can just be 100% 24/7. You can. How much are you limiting your progress by doing that?
No, I don't think.
Not you personally, but someone else.
No. I don't.
I have to do it.
I genuinely believe that no one has nothing that gives them some out time. You look at guys like the guys that I look at with the work ethics nowadays. The Dorian sort of ethics of these days. I think of James Hollingshead, who lives bodybuilding. However, when he's not bodybuilding, he's gaming, and that's his time out.
Or skating.
Or inline skating, hard. So, even though your outlet might not be going out for a boogie and a dance and a socialise, you've got to have something, and whether that's spending time with your family, whether that's, oh, fuck, I'm not training, I'm going to go for a surf today, I'm going to go for a paddle, or getting out on a bike, mountain bike, or going to the movies, or something like that. Everyone's got something, because otherwise you just burn out, and there's no way you can hold that level of focus.
I think that's what makes it sustainable, mate. Because this is a long-term game. It's like minimum. If you've got amazing genetics and you don't make any mistakes straight away, you're training, you're eating perfectly. Still, at least 5 years, right, to be a successful pro. So
30 for us to get anywhere near that level.
For me, it's still not even in sight.
No, that's what it is. I think that you have to have something, because so much of this is So much of this is in the top 2 inches, you know, like people go, oh, it must be so hard to train like that and do those weights. And it must be so hard to not to do cardio every day and to eat all those meals. And I think, nah, that stuff's kind of easy. The hard bit is keeping your fucking head in the game, you know, and not just going, I've had enough of this. It's too much. It's too hard. I've been going for too long. My body's sore. I just want some downtime. And sometimes you actually do need some downtime, but sometimes it's just about doing something that you like doing, feeling a bit refreshed, and then coming back and going, I think I can smash this. And I think that's probably a little bit what I've done. Let myself have a bit of back off time. You know, not just be, you know, 1000% bodybuilding, and just have a bit of time to sit back and go, actually, I really like all those things. As hard as they are, I like the challenge of it. So, you know, I'm not doing this for any other reason other than I actually love doing it.
You've got to love the process, hey? If you just after the outcome, you're going to find the process pretty tough. If you enjoy the process, then you know the outcome's going to take care of itself. Hey, I just sent you a messenger. Can you check that up on the screen easily or not?
I can try.
So I was in the gym the other day. You know, I'm a big fan of Barry DeMay, and so I was looking at some stuff and I found a picture and I was going, oh, here's him from the 1988 Olympia.
Yeah.
He's 6'1", which is what I've shrunk to in my old age. I used to be 6'2", now I'm 6'1", and he was 227. So it's what it's at, about 103 kilos on stage. And I'm hoping to be sort of somewhere around 105.
Yeah.
And I don't look anything like this, dude. So I hope you can get up there to take a quick look.
I will, man. I'll pull it up. What's it on? Yep. Okay. Far away.
So, yeah, there's Barry DeMay from the 88 Olympia, and he's so hopefully I'll have about the same stats as him. 6'1". I might be a little bit heavier, but I can't imagine I'm going to look anything like this. But that's kind of my perfect physique, and I guess because I'm going to have a wee tipple at Classic, it'd be nice if I could kind of make something that looked something like this. I did see in his posing routine, you know, his back isn't the size of the sort of bodybuilders' backs, but I mean, he was in the Open Olympia at 103 kilos, 6'1", 103 kilos, so and under the limit.
That is a beautiful physique, though. Like, you look at that as just an amazing physique, man. The way he is put together is something freaking unreal, isn't it?
Yeah. So that was from early days. That's what I wanted to look like.
Yeah.
Don't know how close I'm getting, but
hey, I played around doing some posing the other day, and that second pose with the the twisting bicep with the arm behind you.
Yep.
I've thrown that pose into the routine. I actually really like it, but I think the trick is like he's got his lat out while he's doing it.
Yeah, you've got pretty good lat, so that should look all right for you.
Yeah, well, if I can get a bit of hang there, it would be nice to, like you saw Brandon Curry's latest back photo on, and you imagine hitting a twisting shot with that. You just have this big bloody lat just hanging off there. You know, that would be interesting to see someone like him hit a classic pose like that. It'd look awesome, I reckon. Yeah. So anyway, training's been really good. New program, obviously. I'm on week what am I now? Week 4, I think.
Pumps, you were saying?
Bro, and I don't know if, many people have experienced this. I'm sure if you train really hard, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. But I would do delts, and by my third exercise, I'd finish the set, and I'd kind of have to jog across the gym to try and shake my shoulders to get the lactic acid out because they were burning so much. And I'm like, fuck, I haven't had a pump like that for years. And then like on arms, it felt like I had bee stings in my biceps, and I was like, what the hell's going on here? And I thought about it, and it's just purely by having some additional volume in my workouts.
You've also got a lot of carbs in too, so you think your nutrition's played a bit of a part in that?
100%, and we're using supplements to really push that. Jordan put me onto one, Muscle Feast Hydrate, which is an electrolyte thing you have in your pre-workout and your intra. And he said to me, I think it's a game changer. And having used it now for 3 weeks, 2 weeks, I agree. Like the pumps are just, and I don't know how much that pump relates to growth and better performance over time.
That was what I was going to ask you.
Mm.
To what degree do you think the relationship between pump and, I guess, muscle damage, good muscle damage that you're looking for adaptation?
Yeah, I think the extra blood flow in the area certainly, from my perspective, allows me to connect with that muscle a lot better. So potentially the pump itself may not be giving me the answer that I want, muscle growth, etc. However, it's allowing me to connect with my muscle better, fire more motor units, i.e. get a better recruitment rate, and therefore create a bigger contraction, causing more damage to the muscle, particularly, and also in the eccentric phase, obviously, because you're fighting it, but you're fighting it harder with more contraction than what you usually would. And I think that obviously equates to physical muscle damage, which I think, if you go back to that research that we were talking about, when you're training in that zone near maximal failure, that you're actually producing the maximum amount of mechanical damage, which is the primary mechanism to create the hypertrophy effect. So I think by proxy, it's beneficial.
Don't see it as a bad thing unless you're so pumped you can't contract the muscles.
Honestly, having the pumps like I'm getting at the moment, it's a lot of fun. Like, we do it kind of because we enjoy it. When you have one of those workouts that you go, fuck, I can hardly move my arms, and you turn in the mirror and there's veins running all over them, and you're like, fuck, my arms are looking pretty full. They look a bit bigger than I thought they were, or my delts or my chest or whatever it might be, and you sort of go, and so that's obviously the more carbs, better hydration, and some of the products obviously in the pre-workout.
Well, also if you've got a good intra and EAAs or whatever in it, then the more blood flow there, you're kind of pushing those nutrients into the muscles.
Yeah. Interesting, eh? Just little things that, and look, it's nothing new. We all know, push up your food, push up your volume, you're going to get massive pumps in your workouts. But, when you get so reductive in this game and you focus on such small things that sometimes you just take a step back and have a look at the big picture. And Jordan said it really well to me. He goes, who would have thought carbs and volume give good pumps? And I went, summed it up right there, man. Pretty simple lesson.
Not so long ago, I don't know if you were on board or whether it was just me, was getting a little bit hung up in this reps and reps in reserve, or the reps close to failures being the key ones for hypertrophy. And so if you're doing sets to failure to 8, where you're getting those last couple of reps, reps 6, 7, 8 are the really important ones for hypertrophy. But if you're doing a set of 15, then it's still only 12, 13, 14. So 2 sets of 8 is better than 1 set of 15 kind of thing. Just got a little bit hung up in that.
Yeah. It's interesting, eh? Like, I think the reality for us is it's probably different to explaining it to someone who's a bit newer to the sport, because, you talk about failure and, those grinding out those last couple of reps on squats or whatever. So you can hardly do any more. So a person understands what you're trying to explain to them, because people's idea of failure versus our idea of failure, probably a little bit skew. But my kind of point is that when you train, even if you're not thinking about that kind of stuff, you're never giving up a set. I don't care, it's a warm up, different kettle of fish, but any working set you ever do you ever cut out, unless it's on a deload, do you ever cut out before you've just about failed? And if so, you might be able to get 1 rep if the fucking wind's blowing the right way. But, you actually work that hard on all your sets anyway. So, a lot of that work that's in that range that produces the growth, we're doing instinctively on every set. And I think that probably comes back to my sort of point. I took a guy aside in the gym who's doing a bodybuilding show. Nice guy, man, and 4th degree black belt, and I think in Taekwondo. And so I said to him, look, bro, I really like you, man. So I want to give you some advice. He's doing his first show. And I said, firstly, you know, you've got a good coach, fucking listen to him. You know, don't take on board what I've got to say in terms of changing your thinking, because I can give you a good idea, your mate can give you a good idea, your coach can give you a good idea. You put those together, you come out with a pile of shit answer. So I said, yeah. So I just said to this guy, look, you know, I just want to give you some advice, because like if I came to Taekwondo and I was kicking the shit out of the pads and that, and you saw my technique was pretty rugged, you know, if you came and had a word to me, I would take it, you know, as thank you, you're giving me some advice. And I said, that's all I mean by this. Don't think I'm being arrogant or telling you what you're doing shit or anything like that. So I said, what's the difference between the way I train and the way anyone else in this gym? Have a look around anyone else and tell me what the difference is. And he goes, I don't know. And I didn't want to put him on the spot. So I just said, look, the difference is that after every set, particularly on a back exercise or a leg exercise, I'm on the floor, you know, or I'm standing, hanging onto a bit of equipment, sucking in air because I've killed myself for that set. I said, have a look around at these guys training, and they're all good. You know, they all do all right. Some of them compete, but they do their sets and get up and get back on their phone or start talking or whatever. And I was thinking, you know, I said to him, that's the difference. And I said, is this your program? And he goes, oh, no, it's not really, because he's got a good coach. I think Andrew's his coach. And he said, no, Andrew's my coach. And I said, did Andrew tell you to do this? And he goes, nah. And I'm like, well, here's my first bit of advice to you. Listen to what your coach says. Do exactly what your coach says. Don't add any extra exercise in. Don't change your food groups. And he sort of laughed and he goes, oh, I know that. And I said, look, the way I look at it is you're paying for a service. He's got a game plan for you. That it's a goal that you want to achieve. And you go and do something different, you ain't going to get that answer. And he goes, oh, you know, that's good. I said, no, you've got a real good attitude, and I think you'll do really well. But just, you know, just listen to your coach, because he's telling you that stuff through experience, you know. And it's interesting. It is really interesting, you know, like to hear someone say, oh, I did 2 hours of cardio. And I'm like, fuck, that's a lot of cardio. Oh, no, my coach didn't tell me to do it. And I'm like, oh, dude, I said, you're probably trying to do everything you can, but, you know, your coach is factoring all this into the equation. So yeah, he took it really well. It's really funny. So I get to go and watch him on stage in July. So hopefully he's starting to look pretty good too. So he's all excited for his show. We're doing all the usual things. I make all my stuff into desserts, and I use that sugar-free maple syrup. And I just looked at him and laughed. He goes, what? And I said, every first-time competitor does that, bro. I said, but, you know, as time goes on, you'll just eat the chicken and rice, bro, because you just get sick of, you know, worrying about it. You just got to do what you got to do. And, yeah, it's a good value. Really cool having a talk to a guy that, you know, is doing his first show, no ego or anything like that, just keen to soak up as much knowledge as he can. You know, he's doing all sorts of research, watching podcasts. So it's really cool seeing him. And I'm enjoying watching his journey, because we've all fucking been there. You know, we all did the first show. We all did the desserts, as many meals as we can, and artificial sweeteners, and doing extra training sessions, even though no one had that in the plan, and chopping and changing things. And, you know.
Well, that's, I mean, how do you know if your process worked if you didn't follow your process? If you know, even if you think you're doing more, oh, this will help, this will be even better. Well, no.
The example, I think it was Dusty Henshaw or someone said that he said he used to get it with women a lot, and they'd go, I just had extra veggies because, you know, veggies are good for you. And he's like, if I'd wanted you to have extra veggies, I would have fucking told you to have extra veggies. And I just laughed, and I thought, you know, there's those little things like, oh, you know, the free veggies, no calories. Yeah, but you're not accounting for the fiber you're putting through your body. We don't need that much fiber going through at this point, because we're trying to get a bit of extra food in, or whatever the reasoning is behind that. So it is interesting just to see that you'd really, you know, that old saying, trust the process, just means so much and actually has so much value. But yeah, anyway, that was
even early on when I kind of made my own plan and went, right, this makes sense, and this makes sense, and this makes sense, but I'm going to do all of it to the absolute most precise, measured, and, you know, like just taking everything to the nth degree.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if this is going to work. As it happened, most of the things worked pretty well for me. I was quite lucky, but I had to make sure, I had to work out whether it worked.
Where did
so I had to do it. not just.
Where did you get your information from back then? Because, you know, I'm thinking that was 97.
Yeah, pre-internet.
So I think I got my first email address the year after in 98 or 98. I think I got my first.
Yeah, I got mine when I went overseas in 2000.
Yeah, so
well, obviously being at the Power Dome with Phil and Shane Hobbs and those guys was pretty useful. It was the height of the kind of Dorian era, right? So we saw blood and guts, that sort of thing, a little bit later on. But it was, what made sense was, getting up and doing a fat burn while you fasted. What made sense was eating your carbs early in the day so you don't, eat them late in the day and therefore potentially deposit them back as fat. What made sense was splitting your protein, like some pretty simple things that you get from magazines or whatever. But I saw people around me going, oh, for dinner I have a baked potato and a chicken breast. I went, okay, cool. Or for lunch or whatever it was. I went, if that's me and I'm hungry, I'm looking for the biggest fucking baked potato I can find. So I'm going to have to eat 250 grams of potato. I'm not going to just. So
interesting though that some of the things that you've said, if you go back and start digging into the science of it now with all the information that's available, some of those things don't kind of stack up for the reasons we did them, absolutely. But the outcome was still the same. The outcome was still a positive thing.
I saw something the other day. I can't remember who said it, but it was might have been Lane Norton. I think it was Lane Norton who was saying, look, the carnivore diet works because you eat a restricted amount of food and a set amount of calories or restricted amount of calories. The Atkins diet works because you eat a particular type of food and a restricted number of calories. The such and such. It was all just around portion and calorie control.
Yeah.
So that was more important than what they were actually eating. So in retrospect, I may not have needed to do a lot of things I did, and I do things differently now. I keep more fats in and that sort of thing. But it was just the fact that I had something to hold on to, something to be really precise about. And I lived it every, couple of hours. There was something I wrote in my little book, carried the book with me everywhere, it just kept me focused 100% on that competition. So whether or not I needed to do my cardio in the morning, or I could have done some later on the day, not that relevant, but the fact that I did it and I was precise about it and I was really precise about my calorie balance, I still believe that's really important. So I would be tweaking my calorie balance with cardio, with food.
That statement that I think you attributed to Lane Norton, that's it at the end of the day. And one of the things I've started saying to people a lot lately is, because of the coaching thing, and that is that, I've got my views and I've got my ways of doing things, but I'm not rigid in them, because I know that if I was coaching you, Mike, I could diet you 5 different ways, and within X amount of percent, you're going to look that fucking look on stage. And I know that, you could do the same thing. If you're doing my training, you could have me training 5 different ways. You could have me eating 5 different diets, and the outcome would probably be roughly the outcome, because you adhere to some principles in training, and in diet, you adhere to the fact that you're going on deficit if you want to lose weight.
And I guess one of the things I took on it, and I don't know, this isn't very revolutionary, right? But I would try and keep my deficit really small, because I didn't want my body to kind of freak out, try and slow the metabolism and conserve what I had left. So it was all about metabolism right from day one. So I'd be making really small cuts, or I'd be increasing my cardio by 15 minutes a day for the following week. And then the next week I'd bring the cardio back to 45 minutes and I'd trim away 200 calories. Or, it was very small adjustment.
Apart from trying to stop your metabolism slowing down, in layman's terms, was your approach also to keep that deficit so small so that the chance of excessive muscle breakdown or lack of repair actually was detrimental to the amount of muscle mass you put on stage? So you were trying to be muscle sparing in your approach by not having.
Absolutely. So I just froze for a second there. That made sense. I was having a lot of protein. I wanted to, and again, keep the food as high as possible for as long as possible. Later, I kind of went to cut. And if I really felt intuitively that metabolism was slowing, more so for other athletes, I found it really difficult to work that out for myself. So hence using a coach this time around, I would bump the food up a little bit and go high intensity cardio for it to try and get that metabolism back up and give yourself more room to kind of start bringing it back down. So it's almost a down, 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 up, down, 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 up, down, and that just sort of.
When you're an athlete and your coach says, I think we're just going to bump you up for a day or two, and you can do some high intensity cardio. You're kind of like, I get this little respite where I get more food, and I'm going to feel clear headed for a day or two afterwards before it's back down into the depths of hell. But I think that's something that a lot of people don't do so much. They just keep coming down, 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 and grind themselves into the ground. But and if you're looking at the long game, or i.e. the day you get on stage versus what your body weight's going to do 2 days after because you've bumped your carbs up high for a day or two, there's an opportunity there to get a better end result by backing off the hard diet for just that fraction of time to let yourself sort of pick your fat burning and your restoration stuff back up to speed. So.
So I was talking about, I was speaking with Shannon today, and we were talking about the way she dieted for her first competition, and she was given a diet plan, and 5 months later she checked back in with her trainer and she said, it's 12 weeks out now, do you think we should try something different? So new training plan, new diet, that was it till 2 weeks out, and there was no fruit, there was no, and she operated like a robot. I can't, I mean, I know how she did it, but way harder than it even needed to be. And prepping for me is about keeping it as not as easy as possible, but as efficient as possible without undue physical or mental stress. I mean, you do what you got to do, but as long as they're moving in the right direction, you keep it as stress-free as possible. And then making those tweaks every week, every couple of weeks to kind of keep things moving.
So you don't get a sense of pleasure out of depriving yourself and grinding yourself into the ground.
Yeah, absolutely. But other people, no, not so much.
Something I was going to ask you, because I spoke to someone today after they did their show, and I said, who are you working with? And they're working with a friend of ours is coaching, and they said, but I've got another nutritionist. And I said, I'd usually get a prep coach that does my diet and my training and, and my posing and everything, because I'm putting one thing on stage, and the athlete said to me, I'm thinking about just going with the prep coach and letting him do everything. And I said, well, I'm not telling you what to do because I can only give you my opinion, but, that person who's programming the exercise and, and any of your supplements and all that kind of thing, they kind of have to be hand in hand with the diet. So unless the nutritionist and the prep coach were talking to each other on a daily basis, which sure as shit they're not, I said, that's a really ineffective, because you become the conduit between your nutritionist and your trainer, and you tell them the information you either A, remember, or B, you want them to hear, and the communication is not there. It really, in my opinion, either has to be one person or a team that are working together. It just.
I've got a mate who's a trainer up in Tauranga, and he's very good. He's very good. He's been at it for 20 years, and he's put some athletes on stage looking amazing. He doesn't do nutrition, and I know he knows about nutrition. I don't know if he knows, or he feels like he knows enough to deal with bodybuilders or cutting athletes from a nutrition perspective. But he's always just sent them to a nutritionist, and I've just been dumbfounded. I don't know how you can do that, because when you're talking calories in, calories out, you got one person dealing with the calories out and someone else dealing with the calories in. They go hand in glove. So if I'm gonna up your cardio, then I'm gonna have to either keep your food the same, or one says, we're gonna cut your food this week. The other goes, we're gonna up your cardio this week. You've got a double whammy.
Or even worse, we're gonna cut your food, and your coach goes, right, we're gonna ramp your volume up and push the intensity real hard for the next 2 weeks. See you later till you see your nutritionist again. Next time you see them, your ass will be hanging out. So, I'm not saying a nutritionist isn't good, because there's some fucking good nutritionists out there, but, they need to be working with your trainer. And likewise, there's some really good trainers out there, but if they've got athletes that they're not doing their diet for, they need to be talking to, it's got to be a collaborative approach because otherwise, you know, the A and B don't match. So yeah, interesting. I'd never really heard of someone in that scenario. So I said to them, look, you know, you might have to, you know, really likes both the coach and nutritionist. And I said, look, sometimes you've got to be a little bit selfish because this sport is about you getting better. So for you to get better, you pick the team that's going to get you there the best. And so it might be a case of saying, nutritionist and trainer, you need to start liaising on a weekly basis. If you can't do that, I'm going to go somewhere else, or I'm going to go to one person. So, you know, it doesn't mean any necessarily things have to change, but other than that, communication.
My first thought, they need to liaise pretty closely and put processes in place around.
Yeah, so it's kind of like that Stan Efferding thing that we talked about, and you mentioned, you know, him in a role with John Jones really as a project manager and managing all the people that wanted to have a piece of the action to different types of trainers and that. So it'll be a really interesting role to do. But as you say, you know, we probably haven't got as many variables and as many people in the mix, so, or as much at stake from millions of dollars point of view. Right, so that's probably enough for tonight, people. I hope you all have a very productive week and a safe week, and get into the gyms and support those people that support local bodybuilding. So from myself and Mike, it's a good night. See you later.
See ya.